Hi, I'm Zachary Zahos. I'm an arts editor for the Cornell Daily Sun, and this week I'm going to talk about Skyfall, the big movie that was released last week. This is the 23rd Bond film, and there was even possibility that this one wasn't going to be made. MGM, the studio behind the whole series, it's now celebrating its 50-year anniversary. It was possible that this movie wasn't even going to be made because of financial difficulties, and you look at the screen and you see lots of money on the screen, but the great thing about it is that there's also a lot of art and a lot of heart too. So after the quite middling, I'd say, Quantum of Solace, which was the last film in 2008, this one picks up and does not try to make Bond an action star, which he really isn't. He's as Roger Ebert puts it, an attitude. It's all about the style of it, and it's all about the gadgets and the women and the cars. And and some people will call that a dated formula, but the great thing about Skyfall is that it sort of balances the new and the old. It has sort of the dark violence and even you could say postmodern relativism of The Dark Knight, and then it mixes it with the great classic sort of material goods that we love in the James Bond canon. I bring up The Dark Knight because Silva, the bad guy in this, he's played by Javier Bardem, who won an Oscar for his murderous psychopathic role in No Country for Old Men. There's certainly a modern element to it in that this bad guy is after M, who is the head of MI6. M is played by Judi Dench, Dame Judi Dench. And she is a tough cookie, basically. She's been in the series since the Pierce Brosnan ones in the 1990s, and she's always very resolute about her job, which involves putting agents out in the field. James Bond's her star agent, but there's a lot of the plot gets entwined with all the other agents actually in this one, where James Bond in the very beginning loses a flash drive or something that has the files of MI6 agents. So Silva has that file, basically, and wants to slander MI6's reputation. And the interesting part is that M and Silva, the bad guy, of course, have a very interesting relationship, and that M did some very questionable things in the past. So it makes for it's not so black and white as the old Bond films, and while he's a funny guy at sometimes, he also has some good points, and it's a good balance of power. The cinematography in this film is beautiful. Shanghai is bathed in a blue light, and Macau, China is yellow and very dark at the same time. It takes place mostly at night, so there's an interesting contrast between the two colors, and then they even go to an island that's all abandoned and it's oversaturated and it looks hollow and dry and lifeless. It's simply amazing. I think it's if there's justice in this world, it'll get an Oscar nomination for cinematography. But even if you're not a fan, if you enjoy movies like The Dark Knight, which I believe mostly everyone does, given how well they do, this is certainly a crowd pleaser, but also a very thoughtful and very just beautiful film. And as for movies playing this weekend at Cornell Cinema, we have Dancer in the Dark, which is directed by Lars von Trier and has Bjork in her swan dress Oscar role, and the 1924 silent movie Peter Pan with live accompaniment by Leslie McMichael. At Cinemapolis we have A Late Quartet starring Christopher Walken, The Other Son, a drama about an Israeli and a Palestinian child's switch at birth, and The Sessions starring John Hawkes and Helen Hunt in a very Oscar buzz film. And at Regal Cinemas, the biopic Lincoln, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Daniel Day-Lewis, is opening, and Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. You're probably either seeing that movie or you don't. I don't need to introduce it. Thanks, and we'll hopefully see you 2 weeks from now after Thanksgiving.